Hello, all you scaredy cats and kittens, and welcome to the Two Scaredy Cats podcast, where we talk about all things strange, unusual, and paranormal. We're your hostess with the mostest. I'm Stacy, and unfortunately, Kara is not with us this week. She is got back-to-back anime conventions that she is going to. She is headed, or is actually in Pittsburgh right now, and then next week she will be in DC at a convention at the Greylord on the harbor there. So she will be back with us the next time we record. Anyway, I'd like to welcome any new people that might be with us today. Hopefully you enjoy our episode today. And thank you to our followers who have been with us. This is our 6th season here, and that we're just starting. So I'm trying to think, is there anything that's been going on? All I know is it's been cold for like 12 days now. We have not been above freezing in those 12 days. It snowed a bunch, and it's just cold, and there's snow everywhere, and you can't do anything, and it's starting to grate on my nerves. And we have a puppy, as I told you all last week, and our puppy is just now 3 months old, a little bit more than 3 months, and she's obviously going stir crazy because we can't really take her anywhere yet because she hasn't had all of her shots. So she, wants to go outside, but the snow is taller than her, and it's like a whole thing. And then it's too cold. She can't be out there for very long. So we just need for the snow to melt so we can take her outside and let her explore, because she really wants to explore outside, apparently. I'm trying to think, I don't think there's anything else going on that I can think of right now. The Epstein files finally got released, all of them got released. I guess it was last Friday. That's been some interesting reads out on the interwebs about all that crazy stuff. And I think that's about it, really. So we'll go ahead and I'll get started with today's topic. Today we are going to be talking about some missing 411 files that maybe you've not heard of before. So without any further ado, let me go ahead and get started with our episode today. There are places in the world where people just disappear. There's no screams, there's no signs of struggles, there's no blood evidence anywhere, and there's no goodbyes. They're just gone. Poof, vanished. And if that wasn't unsettling enough, sometimes these people come back, alive, physically fine, but changed. Today, we'll be talking about the missing 411 files. And before anyone says, oh yeah, I've heard of those stories already, I promise you, these aren't the ones everyone talks about. These are the quiet cases, the ones buried in reports, the stories that don't end with answers, just more questions. And fair warning, if you're someone who likes hiking, camping, or wandering into the woods to clear your head, yeah, you're not going to love this episode. So real quick, before we get too far into this, I just wanted to bring up real quick what missing 411 refers to. It's basically a collection of disappearances that mostly happen in forest, national parks, and wilderness areas. And it's different people, and it happens in different decades and different locations. And people vanish like in seconds, like 1 second they're there and the next second they're not. The weather changes suddenly. Search dogs lose scent. Victims are found in places that make no physical sense. And then sometimes, in very rare cases, they're found alive. But they can't explain what happened to them, or they won't. So the first case I'm going to talk about today is the boy who walked out of time. So this case hardly ever gets mentioned, and this is the story of Kenneth Baldwin. Now, Kenneth was 8 years old, and he was camping with his parents in the Colorado wilderness in the 1970s. Now, this wasn't a remote expedition, and it wasn't survivalist training. It was just a family going on a camping trip. At one point, Kenneth had been walking behind his parents on a trail. They could hear him, they could see him, and then suddenly they couldn't. No sound, no footsteps, no cry for help. He was just gone. Search teams flooded the area. They searched day and night. Helicopters were there. Volunteers showed up. They had search dogs looking for him, and nothing. Nobody could find any scent of him or any sign of him. So 6 days passed, and then without any warning, all of a sudden, Kenneth walked out of the woods like nothing happened. He was alone. He had no shoes on, and he was very calm. He was found 12 miles away from where he had vanished. 12 miles. That's a lot of miles to cover for an 8-year-old. It's a lot of miles. And the terrain that the 12 miles was over was terrain that even experienced hikers would find difficult, let alone an 8-year-old boy with no shoes. So here's where the story takes a turn. Kenneth wasn't scared when they found him. He wasn't crying, and he wasn't confused. And when they asked where he had been, he said he was taken care of. When they asked by who, and he paused, and he said he saw people, but not people. He couldn't explain how he traveled that far. He couldn't explain where he slept, and he couldn't explain what he had eaten. And when the questions got too specific, he stopped answering totally. Now, kids lie sometimes, and sometimes they exaggerate, but kids don't usually fabricate entire gaps in time with no emotional reaction. And that's what makes this case very unsettling, because Kenneth didn't act like someone who survived the wilderness. He acted like someone who had been somewhere else. Okay, so our next case is called Found Where Searchers Had Already Looked. Now, this next case takes us to New Mexico in 1937. The name of this missing person was Maria Martinez. Now, Maria had disappeared while gathering herbs, something she had done millions of times before. She knew the land well, she knew all the paths, and she never got lost. When she didn't return home, though, the last time when she went out on that particular day, search parties were organized immediately, and they all went out looking for her. They combed the area numerous times. They searched ravines, they searched trails, and weeks went by, and nothing, nobody found her. No signs of her anywhere, nothing at all. It's like she totally disappeared and vanished. And then, all of a sudden, Maria was found, and she was found alive. She was discovered in an area that had already been searched very thoroughly by investigators and search people. Her clothes were clean, and she showed no signs of dehydration for somebody that had been missing for weeks. She had no exposed injuries that they could see, and when people asked where she had been, she said she followed singing. Not people calling her name, not animals, but singing. She said it sounded beautiful, and once she started following it, she couldn't stop. Maria couldn't remember how much time had passed. She couldn't explain where the sound came from, and she became visibly distressed when people pressed her for details. In many indigenous traditions, there are stories of voices in the wilderness. We've covered stories about mimics, which, will take on the shape of a loved one and mimic them and make you think that it's really them when it's not. We've heard of tricksters before. There's all kinds of folklore surrounding tricksters and all different types of cultures. And there's also spirits that live in the forest that are known to lure people away. Not to kill them, mind you, but just to take them somewhere else. Whatever Maria encountered while she was in the forest didn't leave any marks on her. So now our third story or case that I've come across is called The Child Who Would Only Speak at Night. Now, this one, so in the 1950s, there was a 5-year-old boy named Thomas Alvarez, and he vanished during a family picnic in California. The distance between Thomas and his parents when he disappeared was like less than 100 feet. The search efforts began immediately with him when he disappeared. 3 days later, he was found alive. He was physically unharmed, but something was very wrong. He would not speak at all. He refused to speak. They tried everything. They had his favorite toys. all that, his favorite foods, and he would not say anything. And he would not talk for days or for weeks. But eventually, he began to only talk at nighttime and only in whispers. And when his parents asked him what happened, Thomas said they didn't like being seen. When asked who they were, he refused to answer. He became terrified of open spaces, and he refused to sleep alone. And he suffered night terrors well into his adulthood. Now, here's the part that keeps people up at night. Thomas didn't describe monsters. He described rules, and whatever he encountered, he believed they are still watching him. So at this point, you might be thinking, okay, but weird things happen in nature. I mean, we've heard stories, of people walking out into the woods and, there was all these insects making noises and then suddenly they stop for no reason. You've heard of people hearing singing in the woods or flute playing or people calling their voices when there's nobody else around, just, you. And sure, that weird things happen, but nature follows rules. These cases don't follow rules. Across decades and continents, the same details appear again and again. Sudden silence, missing time, voices trying to lure you further into the woods. People are found uphill. They're found far away from where they originally disappeared from. And they're very calm when they should be fearful. I mean, think about it. If somebody goes missing, they're usually, upset, freaking out, screaming and all that. And these people, when they came back, they didn't. They were just calm as could be. If this were just accidents, the patterns would be random, but these are not. They're consistent. Like something is repeating the same experiment over and over again. Maybe these people experienced rare psychological events. I mean, it happens. We've seen it before. We've heard about these types of things happening where if everybody believes in the same thing, they can manifest it to come to life or whatever. Or maybe there are places in the wilderness where something else exists alongside of us, watching and waiting. And every so often, it likes to interact with us. Almost like we're, it's prey or something. It likes to, see how it can provoke us or see what our reaction will be when it does something strange. So if you're hiking anytime soon, stay on the trail. Don't follow voices. And if the woods suddenly go quiet, run. Because not everything that takes you into the woods wants you to come back. Well, I hope you enjoyed our story today about some cases from the missing 411 files that I know I have never heard of these cases before, and they're a little different and strange than some of the other ones that we have covered in the past 6 years here on our podcast. If you're going hiking or camping or anything like that, don't go by yourself. Make sure you have somebody with you. Make sure people know where you're going. Make sure you have a phone that has GPS or something that, has GPS on it so people know where you are. And definitely, be careful out there. But look around your surroundings. Make sure you know what's going on. Because sometimes it's not just, the woods or whatever. Sometimes there's predators out there, whether they be human predators or supernatural predators. We just don't know. And also, while you're out there, keep an eye out for Bigfoot. You never know where he might be lurking around. Anyway, that's all I have time for today. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed this little mini episode that I have for you. Kara will be back again with us next time that we're on here. And in the meantime, be careful if you're in the woods. Make sure if something calls your name, don't answer it. Stay on the trail and, just keep your eyes peeled. So if you enjoyed our episode today, be sure to follow us or give a review on YouTube and Apple Podcast. You can also tune in to old episodes anywhere you listen to all of your stuff. And we will be back in 2 weeks with another new exciting episode. And to all our scaredy cats and kittens out there, remember, curiosity didn't kill these two scaredy cats.